We quote the ending. For such a time as this, it's on mugs, it's on wall art, it's in graduation speeches and ordination services and women's Bible study, workbooks everywhere. And it should be. It is a genuinely extraordinary line, but we quote it like it came easily, like Esther heard it, straightened her crown, and walked into the throne room without flinching. She didn't. Before For Such a Time as This, there was a conversation that the inspirational posters never include. Before the courage, there was the fear. Before the yes, there was a very reasonable, very human, very understandable no. Nobody talks about the part where Esther pushed back. Nobody told me she almost didn't do it either.
Fresh melons this morning, straight from the river valley.
Who was Esther before the crown? Her name before the palace was Hadassah. She was Jewish. An orphan, both her parents had died. The text doesn't tell us how or when, only that they were gone. She was raised by her older cousin Mordecai, who took her in as his own daughter. Two Jewish people living as minorities in the Persian capital of Susa, navigating an empire that tolerated them without welcoming them. This is the original context. Not royalty, not power, survival, hiddenness, the particular skill of people who have learned to exist quietly inside systems that were not built for them. And then the empire intrudes. King Ahasuerus, known to history as Xerxes, throws the kind of party that only someone commanding the ancient world's largest empire could throw. It lasts 6 months, and at the climax of the celebration, he summons his queen, Vashti, to display her beauty before his guests. She refuses. The king's advisors panic. If the queen refuses the king publicly, they say every woman in the empire will start refusing their husbands. The social order is threatened. Vashti is deposed, and then the search begins for a new queen.
Do you think he will choose one of us today? Only the stars know what our fate will be.
Every beautiful young woman in the empire is brought to the palace for a year of beauty treatments before being presented to the king. Esther Hadassah is among them. Mordecai has one instruction for her: do not tell anyone you are Jewish. She obeys, she keeps the secret, and when she is presented to the king, she finds favor above every other woman. The orphan girl from the Jewish quarter of Susa becomes queen of Persia, but the crown does not come with safety. And what comes next will ask her to use the very position she now holds to save the people she has been hiding from the moment she walked through the palace gates. His name was Haman, and he was exactly the kind of man who cannot tolerate being ignored. He was the king's highest official, elevated above all the other nobles, the text tells us, and given special honor. And every person at the king's gate bowed when he passed. Every person, except Mordecai. We are not told exactly why Mordecai refuses to bow. Some scholars point to the ancient hostility between the Jews and the Amalekites. Haman was an Agagite, a descendant of the Amalekite king Agag. Whatever the reason, Mordecai would not bow, and Haman found out. What happens next reveals the depth of Haman's hatred and his ambition. He does not simply go after Mordecai. One man's humiliation is too small for him. He decides to destroy every Jewish person in the entire Persian Empire, every man, woman, and child. He casts lots, Purim in Hebrew, which is where the Jewish festival of Purim gets its name, to determine the most auspicious date for the massacre. And then he goes to the king. He tells Ahasuerus there is a people group in his empire whose customs are different and who do not obey the king's laws. He doesn't name them. He offers to pay a massive sum from his own wealth for their destruction. The king, apparently unconcerned with the details, hands him his signet ring and says, "Keep your money. Do what you want with the people." The edict goes out, sealed with the king's ring, sent to every province of the empire. A date has been set, and on that date, every Jewish person in the Persian Empire will be killed. The dispatches were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day. For Esther 3:13, the city of Susa is thrown into confusion. And Mordecai tears his clothes, puts on sackcloth and ashes, and goes to the palace gate because the queen is inside. And the queen is Jewish, and no one knows it. Esther hears that Mordecai is at the gate in sackcloth. She doesn't know why yet. She sends him clothes. He won't take them. She sends a servant to find out what is happening. And Mordecai tells him everything. The edict, the price Haman paid, the date, and a copy of the written decree. So it cannot be argued, cannot be softened. This is real. This is official. This is sealed with the king's ring. And then Mordecai sends Esther a message. Go to the king, beg for mercy for your people. And here is where the story stops being a straightforward hero story, because Esther's response is not yes. It is not immediate courage. It is not the raised chin and the squared shoulders of the inspirational posters. Her response is, "You don't understand how this works." All the king's officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king has but one law, that they be put to death unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their life. For Esther 4:11. She is not being cowardly. She is being accurate. The law of the Persian court was clear and it was absolute. You did not approach the king unsummoned. Not anyone. Not even the queen. If you walked into the throne room without an invitation and the king did not extend his gold scepter toward you, you died. Right there in the throne room. And then she adds this, "I have not been summoned to come to the king for 30 days. 30 days. She is telling Mordecai, I am not in favor right now. The king has not called for me in a month. This is not a good time. The risk is not theoretical, it is immediate and it is real. This is a woman counting the cost, doing the math, looking at the equation and seeing clearly that it doesn't work out in her favor. This is not weakness, this is honesty. And Mordecai's response is one of the most important passages in the entire Old Testament. Mordecai doesn't argue with her fear. He doesn't tell her she's wrong to be afraid. He doesn't minimize the risk. He simply opens the frame wider. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will die. Esther 4:13-14. Read that first part again. Do not think that you alone will escape. He is not manipulating her. He is telling her the truth she has been avoiding. The palace is not a hiding place. The identity she has been concealing, that has kept her safe in the court, will not protect her when the edict comes to the city of Susa. There is no version of this where Esther stays silent and survives. The choice is not between risk and safety. The choice is between risk with purpose and risk without it. And then, only then, after he has dismantled the illusion of the safe option, he says the line, "And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this." For Esther 4:14, notice what he does not say. He does not say, "You were definitely born for this." He does not say, "God has guaranteed your success." He says, "Who knows?" It is a question, not a declaration. It is an invitation to consider the possibility that the position she holds, the position that came through loss and hiddenness and a beauty contest she didn't ask for, might be the exact preparation for the exact moment she is now standing in. Who knows? That is an extraordinary thing to offer someone who is afraid. Not certainty, not a guaranteed outcome, just the possibility that this moment has a meaning larger than her fear. And now Esther has to decide. What happens next is the most important sentence Esther speaks in the entire book. She doesn't say, "I'll do it." She doesn't say, "I believe God will protect me." She doesn't reach for certainty. She doesn't have. She sends a message back to Mordecai. "Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me."
Go, gather all the Jews.
"Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." For Esther 4:16, "If I perish, I perish."
I must go to the king. If I perish, I perish. We will fast with you.
She is not performing courage here. She is not pretending the fear is gone. She is saying, "I have looked at the cost. I have counted it. I know what this might take. And I am going anyway." This is the line that the inspirational posters skip because it is more honest than inspiring. It is the sound of a person choosing obedience in the presence of fear rather than in its absence. She doesn't know she will survive. The text doesn't give her that comfort. The scepter might not extend. The king might look at her and call the guard. She does not know. She asks for 3 days. 3 days of fasting, her people in the city, her attendants in the palace, and herself. Not because fasting will change God's mind, but because she needs 3 days to be ready to do something that might kill her. And then she goes. Notice also what she becomes in this moment. She does not just receive Mordecai's wisdom and act on it. She takes leadership. She organizes the fast. She sets the timeline. She issues the plan. The orphan girl, the hidden Jew, the queen who has been concealing her identity for years. She steps forward and becomes exactly who Mordecai suggested she might be. The preparation for the throne room takes 3 days. The walking in takes courage. Both are required. The third day. The text says, Esther put on her royal robes, not her everyday clothes, her royal robes. She was going to the throne room as the queen. She was going to stand in her full position, dressed in everything the position carried, and ask for what her people needed. She stands in the inner court. The king is on his throne. He sees her. Everything depends on what happens in the next 3 seconds. When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased with her and held out to her the gold scepter that was in his hand. For Esther 5:2, the scepter extends. She is not going to die today. And what follows is a masterwork of timing and strategy. Esther does not immediately blurt out her request. She invites the king to a banquet, then a second banquet. She builds the setting, the relationship, the context, and only at the second banquet, when the king has asked 3 times what she wants, does she finally name it. Haman is exposed. The king is furious. Haman is hanged on the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. The Jewish people are given the right to defend themselves. They survive. The edict that Haman sealed could not be revoked under Persian law, but a second edict was issued, giving the Jews the right to fight back. And they did. The people who were scheduled for annihilation on a specific date are alive, because a woman who was afraid, who counted the cost, who said, "If I perish, walked into a throne room on the 3rd day in her royal robes. God is not mentioned a single time in the book of Esther, not once. And yet the fingerprints of providence are on every page. The orphan who became queen, the refusal to bow that set the crisis in motion, the 30 days of silence before Esther had to act, the scepter that extended. Who knows? Here is what nobody told you about Esther. She was afraid. She pushed back. She did the math, and the math didn't look good. She asked for 3 days because she needed 3 days. She said, "If I perish not because she knew she wouldn't, because she had decided to go even if she did." The courage in this story is not the absence of fear. It is a decision made in the full presence of it. And Mordecai's question, "Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" was not a certainty. It was an invitation to consider that the position you are in, the access you have, the very thing you have been hiding or downplaying or apologizing for, might be exactly the preparation for exactly this moment. The scepter might not extend. That is real. Esther knew it. She fasted for 3 days because she knew it. She said, "If I perish because she knew it." But she went. Maybe you are standing outside a throne room right now. Maybe you have done the math, and the math doesn't look good. Maybe the last time you checked, the conditions weren't right. The timing wasn't right. 30 days had passed and you hadn't been called. Esther wasn't called either. She went anyway. Fast your 3 days, put on your royal robes, and walk through the door. If this story found you at the right moment, share it with someone who is still standing in the corridor, and subscribe to The Sacred Reel. Every week, we are going to find the part of the story that the inspirational posters skip, and we are going to sit inside it until it's real.